They fought at 13. They're both 35 now. Tarver with the 3-inch height advantage, half-inch arm length advantage, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. The height and reach were factors in the first fight in Tarver's favor. Weigh-in, Jones 1 pound under this time at 174. Tarver right on the limit at 175. Antonio, naturally the bigger man, has gone up to 187 overnight. Roy Jones at 180. CompuBox numbers coming off that first fight, Larry.
Well, what they tell you here is that Tarver landed a few more punches in the fight, threw quite a few more. The interesting statistic coming up are the power punches. Here Jones had an advantage, but what that number tells me is there are power punches and power punches. Jones really never landed a big solid punch on Tarver. Tarver raked Jones a number of times.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Roy Jones Jr. Antonio Tarver fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
A smiling Antonio Tarver. Back in the spotlight again, and he loves it.
If this was a debating contest, there's no doubt that Tarver would be the favorite. He's coming out of his dressing room talking. And really, he's very sophisticated and glib talker, maybe the best since Muhammad Ali. Before the first fight, he was jabbing at Jones as a country bumpkin, said his cows and pigs, his chickens and pigs were having nervous breakdowns in anticipation of the fight. For this one, he says that Roy has 100 copies of his fight with John Ruiz, but he can't find one of his fight with Tarver, and that his grandchildren will have to go through Google to find any trace of that fight, because Roy doesn't want anybody to see it.
On the other hand, Tarver has said that it was watching Roy Jones in the 1988 Olympics at Seoul, Korea, which inspired him to resume an amateur boxing career that he had left behind and prompted him ultimately to get to the point where he is now.
And he was an outstanding amateur, just as Roy Jones was. He lost to Vasily Zhirov in the 96 Olympics. He's only had 22 fights or so as a professional. So even though he's 35, he's a young 35.
And of course, as you surely know from watching the first fight, a southpaw. Jones is not unaccustomed to fighting southpaws. At one point, he fought a long string of substandard, ill-equipped southpaws in easily defending his light heavyweight championship. But this guy's different than any of the other southpaws that Jones has been in with, because he's much more aggressive and a much bigger hitter. When he lost to Harding, he had a broken jaw and fought all the way through the fight anyway.
And then he took the rematch when he was ranked #1 and jeopardized that mandatory position to prove that he was worthy of a title shot.
And did he prove it? He knocked Harding out. So Antonio Tarver has made giant strides in the last couple of years. And tonight he tries to take that last stride to the top of the mountain that he believes he actually took last November. Here comes Jones.
However you looked at the first fight, whether it was because you thought Jones didn't take Tarver seriously enough, or whether Tarver was that good, at the end of the night, we saw something from Roy Jones that we had long wanted to see, which was how would he deal with adversity. He was seriously threatened with a defeat in that fight, and he showed us his championship quality in the late rounds despite his deep fatigue.
And having won a fight for the first time with his mind and his heart instead of with his body, Jones found that he became more popular. And having shown vulnerability, he suddenly had a connection to the audience which might never have existed before. When he beat John Ruiz, he was the first former middleweight champion to win a heavyweight title in many decades. The one loss on his record when he hit Montel Griffin twice, when Griffin was already down on the canvas in the 9th round in Atlantic City. And then months later, he blew Griffin out with that memorable first-round knockout. So now they are both situated in the ring, and even though it's crowded up there, we're ready to throw it to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay Resort Casino of Las Vegas, Don King Productions is proud to present 12 rounds of boxing for the light heavyweight championship of the world. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this bout will be Dwayne Ford, Dave Moretti, and Jerry Roth. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Jay Nady. And now, from the Mandalay Bay Resort Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue, and he officially weighs 175 pounds. In his professional career, he has 21 victories, including 17 knockouts, with only 2 defeats. He comes to this ring tonight looking for revenge and redemption, to prove to the world that he is not just one of the 2 best, but that he is the very best light heavyweight in the world today. From Orlando, Florida, the #1 ranked contender and former light heavyweight champion of the world, Antonio Magic Man Tarvers. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing gray, his official weight, 174 pounds. In 1998, he was voted that Olympic's most outstanding boxer, and now, as a professional, his record stands at 49 victories, including 38 knockouts, with only 1 defeat, which was disqualification and reversed by a first-round KO in rematch. He is universally recognized as, pound for pound, the greatest fighter over the past decade. Tonight, we turn the page to another chapter of the saga of a boxing superstar. From Pensacola, Florida, presenting the former middleweight world champion, former super middleweight world champion, former heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending, 3-time light heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones.
Buddy, you don't have to have it, so I'll make sure you have it. Okay, baby.
All right, you guys, I gave you instructions in the dressing room. Do you have any questions?
I got a question. You got any excuses tonight, Roy?
Let's not ask questions like that. Let's touch gloves and go to work.
Tonight, Roy.
Let's go to work.
Antonio Tarver wants to correct the scoring of the first fight. Roy Jones, in effect, wants to avenge a victory that was too close for his comfort. Let the fisticuffs begin.
They don't want to wait for the bell. Emmanuel, you seen that before?
I love it. No, I've never saw it, but I would like to see it more often.
Never seen it. I got Not a question. You got any excuses tonight, Roy? What a start.
Oh, he's very, very confident.
One thing Jones told us in a meeting yesterday, he said, you know, you never saw Tarver with his back to the ropes last November. That was because I was too tired. He said, tomorrow night, I'll put Tarver against the ropes.
And one of his most effective punches sometimes is that counter jab of Roy's. Whenever southpaw jabs, he likes to counter it real quick by slipping and then shooting his own jab very fast.
Now, they feint and face each other and feint again, and the crowd already rested, wonders what's going on. But Larry, what's really happening here is that you have two natural counterpunchers against each other,
That's right? And Roy Jones is taking a more positive, aggressive stance, but he's not throwing any punches yet. Neither is Tarver.
Neither man wants to go first. Finally, Tarver leads.
After about a minute, we see a punch.
Yes, both of these guys are really technical fighters anyway by nature, so this is only normal for them to fight this way.
You have to remember that what made the first fight dramatic was the jeopardy that Jones was in. A lot of it was this kind of posturing and looking for position.
And up until the times that Roy would actually go to the rope, a lot of the first fight was this way, until Jones would go to the ropes and say, come on and throw your punches, Antonio.
And there were boos in the house during the first fight from time to time. And already Jones is much more active and much more effective in round one. That was the case on November 8th, when he seemed totally out of it those first two rounds.
And trying to keep the fight right in the middle of the ring where he has an advantage.
Straight right hand upstairs, straight right hand to the body. The straight right hand won the fight for Jones in November because he needed to win it that way, pecking to the body over and over with the right hand.
But Roy's not going to the ropes at all so far in this fight. Now, I don't think he's going to be on the ropes hardly at all, particularly early in the fight. If it does, it'll be late on.
Well, if he has the stamina to stay on his feet and move, he'll do it.
Now they're fighting in the center of the ring, and his hand speed and foot speed is being a problem for Tarver to deal with.
Because at this weight, there's never been hand speed and foot speed like Roy Jones. Tarver hadn't gotten off really, and Jones is landing his right hand. So even though much of the first round was a phony war, posing and staring and looking, Jones has scored enough.
He's scored enough to win the round, possibly, but he hasn't really been able to penetrate or find a style yet that can penetrate through Tarver effectively.
Tarver lands a right hand.
Good right jab.
And another Tarver jab, and Jones answers with a hard right hand to the body as round one comes to a close.
All right, baby. That's what I want. Just keep the control. Keep the control. Put it in the middle. Keep the control. Keep your feints going. Keep your feints going. Okay? Yep. The joke ain't coming to you. Just keep him going back.
You see what he's trying to do, right? Okay. Now let's get that jab working. But do me a favor, though. You got to stay low. Okay, now remember now, he's going to try uppercuts as well. So when you get low on the inside, you got to spin out of there. Okay? Let's get that jab working. Don't reach with the left hand yet, Antonio. Okay. Okay? Don't reach it. Relax. Okay. Relax, baby. Relax. It's only round one. Let's get that jab working now. Okay, let's get the jab going.
Keep him going back. Just keep dictating to him. You'll be able to land some shots. Way to work. Way to work. Use your jab a little bit, son, though. Feint, jab. Get your range, get them big shots off. All right? Keep that steel going, Joe. Okay.
Good. Don't give them much respect. Baby. Okay, when he's backing you up, stay low.
Stop using that word, respect me.
Okay, baby, so that was you. Then let's go out there and get yours. Come on, then go get yours, baby. Okay? Let's go get yours. Okay? Same as the last fight, ain't nothing different. Okay? He's just trying to bully you. Okay? We ain't here for that. Okay, baby? Stay low, keep that jab working now.
Jones's good friend Derek Smoke Gaynor is seated in round two. Between rounds, after listening to Alton Murkerson, Jones nearly craned his head all the way out between the ropes to listen to whatever it was Gaynor had to say.
So evidently he has a lot of respect for Gaynor. It's interesting, Murkerson has been with Roy throughout his entire career, and that's really rare today. It means about going on 16 years almost.
Well, Roy Jones has been very loyal to people who work for him and to his friends.
He's a good man, and he's helped a lot of boxers down there. in his town. And in addition, he's one of the few guys that continually contributes a lot to helping Joe McClellan.
He's been the chief benefactor to McClellan, who has been in distress ever since his 1995 fight with Nigel Benn. Round two, very much the same kind of action that you saw toward the end of round one. Tarver stalking now more aggressively, more concertedly, and seemingly accepting the role of the leader in the counterpuncher's war. And there's a hard left hand by Antoniio Tarver. Jones tries to come back with a right to the body and a right upstairs and another right to the middle of the belly.
You know, it's interesting. I'm watching Tarver. He seems to still be giving Roy problems. Roy has not found a way still to get a sustained attack against him.
And down goes Jones on a hard left hand, and that is the first that Roy Jones has ever been hurt. Only Lou DeBell ever knocked him down. Jones may not get up, and he makes it up. Jay Nady stops the fight, and Jones is still on clear street, and that's amazing. What a statement by Antoniio Tarver. One big left-hand shot.
He said, what excuses do you have tonight, Roy? No excuses. Alton Murkerson said, Roy Jones has gotten old, and you could see it because he was throwing one punch at a time, and he was measured by Tarver.
And he never found a way to really get through to Tarver. And Tarver just patiently took his time and really straightened up.
That is the first time in his career he's really been hurt. He's gone down before one time, but there was a perfect left hand. Roy never saw it coming. Roy is out. And Roy may be out of boxing.
And that's why Tarver wanted to be the counterpuncher, because he answered Roy's right hand with a perfect left-hand shot that knocked Jones out. There it was. One previous knockdown against Lou DeBell, that was a flash in Madison Square Garden in New York. This is the first time Roy Jones has been hammered by a power punch, and it's cost him a fight.
In two fights now, we have to say that Tarver has bested Roy Jones.
Unquestionably. There's the answer. You know, Jones was still a heavy favorite in this fight, despite everything that happened last November. Here's his valiant effort to get up, but when he managed to get to his feet at 9, I believe, Emmanuel, he was still wobbling.
If he'd have got on up and they let the fight continue, he would have been seriously hurt.
There's one other thing, Emmanuel. When a fighter has spent most of his career trying to avoid punches and never taking a lot of punches, when he gets nailed with a big punch, that's what can happen.
And this was very interesting that, you know, this Tarver seems to have his number, and the punch he caught him with, it was very difficult to avoid that. Tarver had just been hit himself, and he got right on top of Roy, hit him with a short punch that Roy never even saw.
Right, you have to say that Antoniio Tarver not only talks a good fight, he fought a good fight.
Absolutely, and here's Tarver's ultimate revenge. He won't have to worry about what the judges see in the fight tonight. They can go home just as Jones can go home, because Tarver sent everybody home with that big left hand. Let's go to Michael Buffer with the particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jay Nady reaches the count of 10 at 1 minute, 41 seconds of round number 2. The winner by knockout victory. And once again, the light heavyweight champion of the world, Antoniio Magic Man Tarver.
This is for the fallen soldiers, baby. I dedicated this fight to them. Bring our people home from Iraq, baby, so they can reunite with their families.
Tampa, Florida, Orlando, Florida. We on the map. I love you all.
The man loves to talk, and right now he can talk all he wants.
Yes, he can.
He can talk for the next few months if he wants to.
I would tell him to shut up.
I'd like to listen, quite frankly, because this is going to be a great interview. This man is as exciting once he opens his mouth as anybody we've had in the sport. You made that point before the fight.
Yeah, I love to hear him talk. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and he comes up with some good phrases.
Oh, and there's going to be a whole lot of I told you so.
Yeah.
And we at HBO might come into harm's way just a little bit, but that'll be fun too. Let's find out as we go to Larry Merchant with Antoniio Tarver.
Well, congratulations, Antonio. You said before the fight to Roy, no excuses this time. Did you see that he was vulnerable the way he was fighting you?
No, the man came out strong. He tried to dictate early, but I stayed confident. I stayed composed. And, I knew it was a matter of time. When God is with you, can nothing be against you. And I knew it was my time. Judge that.
Well,
Judge that, baby. Judge that.
Well, could you see that he was throwing one punch at a time? He really was trying to make you take the lead, and that he was open, or was it just a punch you threw that landed?
No, it was, hey, knockouts happen in boxing. I was dressed down in defense. I saw everything coming, and I knew that, when he came in and tried to get offensive, I was going to let my hands go. And I was in great shape thanks to Buddy McGirt. We worked real hard, and I never gave up on my dream. So here I am, Larry.
Obviously, this big crowd and all the people out there are shocked by what happened. Even you seem a little surprised the way it ended.
Larry, if you knew the steps I had to take to get here, it's just a jubilee. I'm just happy, and I just know that God lives, and can't be denied. Can't be denied.
All right, let's take a look at the knockout, and you tell us what you saw and why you did what you did.
Right there. He missed. Perfectly timed. We both threw at the same time, and I just turned it over shorter than he did, and it caught him right on the kiss. That was a perfect punch. Perfect punch.
All right, we're going to take a look from another angle. Describe it again.
Okay. Right there, he's trying to bait me. He's trying to feint. I missed my jab. But right here, I'm still in position, and I beat him to the punch with a strong overhand left. That was a beautiful, beautiful executed punch.
What does this night mean to you, Antonio?
It means everything to me, because for so long people say I couldn't, people say I wouldn't, but I never gave up on my dream. I never gave up on myself. I knew that Antoniio Tarver was the best fighter in the whole wide world. Pound for pound, baby. Pound for pound.
You said you were like, the two of you were like Siamese twins who grew up together. You parted, you came back together again. How would you describe those former Siamese twins now?
Well, you know what? We still stuck together, because this fight will go down in the history of boxing as an instant classic. This is Marvin Hagler Hearns all over again. And right now, I'm glad to be a part of that. Without the great Roy Jones, none of this would be possible. It takes a great fighter to beat a great fighter. And you're looking at a great fighter tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's just take one brief look into the future, Antonio. Do you want to stay as a light heavyweight? Are you open to an invitation to fight one of the hundreds of heavyweight champions out there? What do you see, or is it just too soon to even think about it?
Right now, with a great victory like tonight, I'm going to bask in it, enjoy it as long as I can. But like I said, the money is 6 feet 7 inches tall. I'm willing to fight anybody.
All right, well, you got laryngitis at last.
At last.
After talking for 6 months.
I'm finally at a loss for words.
Moments later, Larry Merchant spoke to Roy Jones as Jones tried to deal with his first knockout loss.
Roy, there's a first time for everything.
You know how that goes there. There's no excuses on my part. I come out, I do what I do. I've had an illustrious career. I've enjoyed what I've done. And guys always are up to fight Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. has a hard time getting up to fight guys. You know what I mean? Because it's really nobody out there that Roy Jones Jr. really feel that way about. So, it happens.
But you have to feel that in terms of preparation, you gave your best.
Yeah, I did.
And
I gave it what I had, you know, and I got myself best prepared that I could, you know, under the situation. I'm not making no excuses, and you know, it happens like that sometimes.
do you think that you're trying to stay in the middle of the ring and take control of the fight in some way, left you open?
I'm not really shy to look at it and see again. The main thing is that, you know, I'm a warrior. I'm going to fight. So, you know, even when I don't feel well, I don't feel good about certain things, I'm still going to fight. So I'm always going to go down and fight. I thank God for blessing me, giving me the opportunity to come out and do what I do.
Are you suggesting there is something wrong with you coming in tonight?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Roy Jones ain't going to fight regardless. He don't care. You know what I'm saying? So,
what did you two say to each other after the fight?
I said, good fight, good shot. That's all I can say.
All right, we'd like you to take a look, your second look at it, but this time you may get a different view of what happened.
All right. I threw a right hand, and he came up, I backed out, and he threw an overhand. Right off of my right hand, I tried to throw a hook, and he threw an overhand, and it was a good shot. Really good shot.
Has anything like this ever happened to you before, anywhere, anytime?
Yeah, I've been knocked down as an amateur once. Something similar to that happened to me, and you know, it happens to the best of us.
What does this mean for the rest of your career? Do you want to fight Tarver again? Do you want to go back to the heavyweight division, or is it over?
I could fight Tarver again. I could go back to the heavyweight division. Actually, fighting somebody like Tarver is not really of interest to me, because that's why I don't get motivated for these type of fights. The heavyweight fights were the better ones, were the funner ones, and then I let myself come down to try to, you know, do this for the people, for the fans, and I should have left it alone, but I did it, and when the guy won a good fight, I have no excuse. I thank God for blessing me, giving me the opportunity to come out and do what I do. I did. I gave him my all under the circumstance that I could, and that was that. So
you're suggesting that when you come back, you're not going to go out on this kind of a defeat, and you'll come back as a heavyweight?
No, I ain't said nothing. Yeah, I ain't said what I might do. You know, I ain't sure I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna stay the same. I ain't sure what I'm gonna do yet. If I don't have no more interest in it than I do now, then it's best for me to stop.
You've accomplished everything you've ever wanted to accomplish in boxing.
Exactly.
And these fights are just icing on your big cake.
Basically, you know what I mean? It's like, for me, I have no real enjoyment in doing that like this. I would rather fight the heavyweights. When you fight a guy like this, it's like, what you fighting for? What you doing it for?
Thank you again, Roy Jones.
Thank you.
Moments later, our camera followed Roy Jones and his entourage as he walked toward a new identity in life.
A scared man is dangerous, man.
That's right.
Yeah, he was scared. Scared man is dangerous. You yourself, motherfucker, scared like that.
Yeah, what the problem?
You seen it from the beginning. You seen him
scared here like this, so you don't know what he might do. It makes it very different.
I got one of the bad headache. I'm going to the room, but I know we're finna have 19 down to 2 great guards.
Man, you know, for me though, be it ain't for me that it's like you get ready. I do it fast. You get ready. They ain't that no more. Like that, I mean, you know them days almost.
I feel you. When you just, like Mike said, when it ain't fun for
when ain't that no more, you don't. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Mike said when it ain't fun no more, he just get out of there.
Like, I want to have fun, but it wasn't nothing to me that you guys, you know what I'm saying? But just like I was just there. You know what I mean?